Fox News alert. A federal grand jury in Virginia has indicted New York Attorney General Letitia James on criminal charges after an investigation by the DOJ.
Chanley Painter is here with all the details. Hi, Chanley.
Hey, good morning, Todd and Carly. So New York Attorney General Letitia James facing federal mortgage fraud charges after prosecutors say she falsely claimed a home in Virginia as her second residence while using it as a rental property. A federal grand jury finding that she was then able to obtain more optimal loan terms. James now faces a 2-count indictment. 1 count for bank fraud and 1 count of making false statements to a financial institution. Well, each count carries a potential sentence of up to 30 years in prison, up to a $1 million fine and forfeiture.
This is nothing more than a continuation of the president's desperate weaponization of our justice system. These charges are baseless, and the president's own public statements make clear that his only goal is political retribution at any cost. I stand strongly behind my office's litigation against the Trump Organization.
The U.S. Attorney for the Eastern District of Virginia releasing this statement, quote, "No one is above the law. The charges, as alleged in this case, represent intentional criminal acts and tremendous breaches of the public's trust. The facts and the law in this case are clear, and we will continue following them to ensure that justice is served." And now lawmakers, of course, on both sides are reacting. New York Democratic Representative Richie Torres saying this, quote, "The politically motivated indictment of Attorney General Letitia James is an abuse of power, a weaponization of government, and it's most outrageous and egregious. It is the latest salvo in Donald Trump's unrelenting war against American democracy." While Republican Elise Stefanik said this, quote, "Her hypocrisy is profound as she campaigned on the mantra that no one is above the law, yet she now faces allegations of committing the very type of financial misrepresentation she baselessly pursued against President Trump." Well, James is set to be arraigned on October 24th.
And we will put your fat in prison for conspiracy against rights, and I promise you.
Whoa, Nelly. We're losing hydraulic pressure. Divert all power to the loading bucket. Full power.
Okay. All right, ladies and gentlemen, it is a free-for-all Friday, and what an insane Friday it is going to be. We are going to rip-roar like a California wildfire set by an eco-terrorist that hated Donald Trump. You know that really happened this week. Alex, have we covered that in the show? Let's make sure that we talk about that just a little bit. Man, it is going to be a flaming show because we have some spicy, hot content to cover today as Letitia James has been indicted on 2 airtight counts of defrauding the feds, the taxpayers, the people of America. The exact same crimes that she accused Donald Trump of. My goodness, the Trump curse is so real. And today is Friday, October 10th, 2025. Letitia James will be arrested soon. We'll see what happens next. James Comey this week. Our cup runneth over. Hopefully it'll all be live on camera. That's what Letitia did to Trump. Letitia's entire career has been built on the selective prosecution of one man. And even CNN is starting to snap over all of this. It is a wild time. Sam Antar, who is the chief investigator here, who is somebody who has exposed these Letitia James crimes, he will be joining the show very, very soon, along with Scott Pressler, who will talk about flipping New Jersey, the state, of course, that's like a little brother state to New York, that borders New York. Can we flip it red? Can we go on offense? Can we begin to conquer that little blue block of the Northeast? Ladies and gentlemen, a lot of heavy work to be done in New Jersey today, and we're proud to be part of it. My name is Benny Johnson, and this is The Benny Show. No matter where we go, we're going to be going a lot of places today. Patriot Mobile will be there standing with us. Patriot Mobile is the only Christian conservative wireless provider in America. It is someone who is the backbone of our show from a technological perspective, from a locked-in perspective. You want to make sure that we are able to post live on top of the ICE facility buildings in sniper nests, which, by the way, we did twice over the past week. ladies and gentlemen. Patriot Mobile follows us everywhere. They are the only cell phone service provider that we trust because of their unlimited data plans, mobile hotspots, international roaming, and internet backup. So many things that keep us locked in on the road. Switching is easier than ever. Activate in minutes and make the switch today. Go to patriotmobile.com/Benny or call 972-PATRIOT. Use promo code Benny for a free month of service. Okay, baby. Boom. Letitia James. Here we go. She has been indicted for mortgage fraud and federal bank fraud. These are big boy indictments. We're going to read you the indictment here in just a moment. Ladies and gentlemen, let's read the top line here from the New York Post. New York State Attorney General Letitia James was indicted on Thursday by a federal grand jury in Virginia on charges of bank fraud and making false claims to a financial institution that netted her nearly $19,000 in savings on a loan for a second home, according to the Department of Justice. The indictment was handed up by the Eastern District of Virginia, where former FBI Director James Comey was also indicted on September 25th. No one is above the law. The charges, as alleged in this case, represent intentional criminal acts of tremendous breaches of the public trust, said U.S. Attorney Lindsay Halligan on the statement. And the facts and the law and the case are clear, and we will continue to follow them to ensure justice is served. James responded in a statement saying, nothing more than a continuation of the president's desperate weaponization of our justice system. He is forcing federal law enforcement agencies to do his bidding, and because I did my job as New York State Attorney General, these charges are baseless. Well, okay, let's go ahead and look, shall we? Here are the actual charges. Here is the indictment. We're going to read it through, and we'll let you decide. And then, of course, we're going to be joined by someone who has done really the lion's share of the investigation here, a friend of the program, a white-collar criminal expert who will be able to break down what happens next. Sam Anatar was correct, by the way, in all of this. We look forward to speaking with him. Ladies and gentlemen, indictment, the general allegations. Letitia James was a resident of Brooklyn, New York. She borrowed a Fannie Mae-backed mortgage in order to buy a property in Norfolk, Virginia. The financial institution known as the Old Virginia Mortgage was a mortgage lending business located in Virginia Beach, Virginia, engaged in the business of originating and underwriting residential mortgage loans, including those backed by the Federal National. There you go, boys. There's the indictment. Okay. Sorry, I want everyone to be able to follow along. Thank you. The First Savings Bank was a state-chartered FDIC financial institution, headquarters in Jefferson, Indiana, acquired the mortgage loans through the assignment acquisition. First Savings Bank, titled Financial Institution, on or about August 17th, 2020. James, as a sole borrower, purchased the 3-bedroom, 1-bathroom property located in Norfolk, Virginia, for approximately $137,000. The mortgage loan of approximately $109,000 by Fannie Mae. The loan was originated under the signed second home rider, which required Letitia James as the sole borrower to occupy and use the property as her secondary residence, and prohibited the use of timesharing or other shared ownership arrangement or agreement that requires her either to rent the property or give any other person control over the occupancy of the property. Despite the representations that she was not allowed to do this, Letitia James never occupied this secondary residence and instead used it as a rental and investment property, renting the property to a family of 3. This misrepresentation allowed James to obtain favorable loan terms, with savings exceeding $20,000 over the life of the loan. James's universal property application for homeowners insurance proved that she lied in her own hand. James filed Schedule E tax forms under penalties of perjury, treating the property as rental real estate, reporting fair rental days, 0 potential use days, thousands of dollars in rents received, and claiming deductions for expenses of the property, further contradicting her home classification. The loan was acquired and signed by the First Savings Bank, exposing the risks associated with a misrepresented loan, the acts herein described in the Eastern District of Virginia. 1 count of bank fraud, the allegations in paragraphs 1 through 12 are aligned and incorporated herein. So this is the bank fraud count. The scheme involved falsely representing the Virginia property as a secondary residence to obtain favorable mortgage terms. Count 2, false statements to a financial institution. The allegations of paragraph 1 through 12 re-allege the incorporation herein. And then it says, of course, that she obviously signed her name to false documents to financial institutions, knowing full well that she was lying. Pursuant to the Federal Rule of Criminal Procedure, Title 18 U.S. Code 982A, Section 2, Section A, upon conviction of these offenses of count 1 and 2, the defendant, Letitia James, will forfeit to the United States any property derived from proceeds obtained directly or indirectly as a result of such violations, including but not limited to money judgments in the amount of $20,000. So she's going to lose her home. They're going to seize her home. If any property described above as a result of any act of omission, the defendant cannot be located upon the exercise of due diligence, has been transferred to, sold, deposited with third party, has been placed in jurisdiction of the court, then Letitia James may well do prison time. Look at that. There are the charges in black and white, ladies and gentlemen. Effed around and found out is the F aroundest of times and the find outingest of times. Goodness gracious. And we were right all along. We've been right the whole time. Mike Davis on our program. Mike Davis has a critical meeting this morning, cannot join the show. I was like, Mike, you got to come on and do the touchdown victory dance. This is your moment. Mike said, I just can't. I just do not have the capacity to do it this morning. So we'll let Mike speak for himself anyway, because nearly 1 year ago, Mike Davis promised us and told us precisely what was going to happen in this moment. Here we go.
Just say this to Big Tish James, the New York Attorney General. I dare you. I dare you to try to continue your lawfare against President Trump in his second term, because listen here, sweetheart, we're not messing around this time, and we will put your fat ass in prison for conspiracy against rights. And I promise you that. So think long and hard before you want to violate President Trump's constitutional rights or any other American's constitutional rights. It's not going to happen again.
We've been warning people on the show, Mike. This isn't the same Trump administration. Stop messing around. Don't rig elections. Don't illegally vote. Don't try the funny business, because we know the team this time and they are not effing around. Yeah. And sure enough, if you were tuning into this program, and perhaps you saw that clip, even if you weren't, because it went thermonuclear viral, everybody's saying, wait a second, like, are they serious about this? They should have been listening. Mike Davis followed up time and time again on this program, saying that Letitia James, Barack Obama, James Clapper, James Comey, John Brennan, that all of the lawfare Democrats would get theirs. That these are just the appetizer indictments. That you cannot be the top law enforcement official in the state of New York and then claim your primary residence in Virginia. You are factually defrauding the taxpayer. That is an airtight indictment. We've had people joining the program, Sam Anatar is one of them, who has said, no, she's just guilty as hell. Like, and this is just the start. This is just some of the charges that can be brought against Letitia James, but that she will be charged. This show has been right. The guests on this program have been predicting what was about to happen. Mike Davis, one more time, telling you the future.
And Big Tish took Trump to trial in New York on this and got Arthur Engeron, that nut job trial attorney, to railroad President Trump, where it was a kangaroo court. There was no due process. Now Democrats want due process for Tren de Aragua terrorists and MS-13 gangbangers who beat women and traffic women and, rape kids. But, suddenly they care about due process, but they didn't care about due process for President Trump. So I would say to Big Tish, when I warned her several months ago that we're going to put her fat ass in prison, I think that's actually going to come true.
We need to make a new song. We need to make a song, Klein, like the We Were Right song. We need to make a new song that we play on the show whenever this show was like months ahead in predicting what was about to happen. Boy, we make a lot of news and catch a lot of hell for promoting clips like that and for having guests speak like that. But we're doing our job. They must be the other guys. We're the ones doing our jobs. We're telling people what's about to happen. Mike Davis doing a bit of a touchdown dance last night live on Fox. Here we go.
CEO of the Article 3 Project, Jonathan Fahey, former federal prosecutor. He was also assistant U.S. attorney in the Eastern District of Virginia where these charges were filed. Both you gentlemen worked together. You were a junior lawyer back then, Mike, and you were like 5 minutes ago, and you were his basic boss, which is so cool. I can't believe that. Anyway, Democrats are saying, Jonathan, this is a minor issue. It's a fishing expedition on Tish, political payback, but is she in trouble?
By reading this indictment, I really think so, because it said specifically she signed something saying this would not be used for a rental property or anything else. It would be used by her. And in fact, she rented it out. And the worst part about it is she made about $18,000 because of doing so, because she got a lower rate. So this isn't some totally insignificant case. I am interested, all of her statements there, or kind of, all the just nonsense.
Bloviation.
But what is the defense? Is she going to say she actually didn't rent it out, or she's going to say she lived there? She's got a problem here, at least by the face of this indictment.
Mike, a lot of those neighbors didn't seem to see her a lot, it turned out, right? She wasn't in town a lot, maybe. Maybe they just missed her.
Well, because under New York statute, the New York Attorney General has to reside in New York. So I don't know how you can reside in New York and also have this
bilocate.
Yeah, I mean, it's amazing to me. Remember, she went after President Trump under a mortgage fraud theory when President Trump paid back sophisticated Wall Street banks on time as agreed, in full, with interest. And Tish James waged her lawfare and tried to bankrupt him.
How many segments do you think we all did on just the hunting of Donald Trump? I mean, I don't even countless segments. So she weaponized the New York legal system against him. This seems, if it's true, seems cut and dry case. Obviously, she's innocent until proven guilty. But so I don't know what she's really crying about here. But I want to go to a ruling that just was handed down in Illinois. A Biden appointee, April Perry, issued a partial temporary restraining order, a TRO, on the National Guard being deployed to Chicago. We're still waiting to find out which portion.
Ladies and gentlemen, Mike Davis, again, we look forward to locking him in maybe on Monday. We need Mike to be able to do a bit of a touchdown dance. Jonathan Turley, also a legal expert that we love following on Fox, saying effectively, this is the ultimate karma that's happening to Tish James. Again, these are the crimes that James Comey charged Michael Flynn with, right? Lying to federal investigators. These are the crimes that Letitia James went after Donald Trump for. They're now coming back to bite them in the ass. It is just beautiful biblical justice. There's no other way to describe it. It is the most incredible F-aroundest of times, find outingest of times. It's wild, man. It's karma. It's karma. This is what Jonathan Turley says. Let's go.
Well, there's no question that Letitia James was lawfare's happiest warrior. I mean, she relished the limelight. And it's also important to keep in mind she was using a law where the court agreed, because witnesses testified, that not a single dime was lost. Everyone actually made money off of this. There was no victim in the sense of losing money. But James said it didn't matter, that because these figures, these filings were false. This is the ultimate example of karma. Now, having said that, I don't think this is going to be an easy case. There's going to be a challenge to Lindsay Halligan, who is the acting U.S. attorney. It's the same challenge that's going to be brought by James Comey. And the argument is that President Trump could not appoint an acting U.S. attorney for 120 days because he had already used that period for another person. Now, there's an argument that the Trump administration can make against that, but it means that there's going to be a threshold challenge that could delay a trial. And I think that's what they're counting on. This is also a good district for her. It's not New York, so she didn't get that. But she got a very blue district and a very good jury pool for any trial.
I guess we'll see. Good luck. What do they always say? The process is the punishment. And so now Letitia James officially indicted. James Comey officially indicted. To all of those who say nothing ever happens, it's happening. Hell is frozen over. Anderson Cooper on CNN torching Letitia James for selective prosecution of Donald Trump. Anderson Cooper saying the days after she was elected in 2018, Letitia James was asked by community activists if she was going to sue President Trump. And she responded, "Oh, we're going to sue him. We're going to be a real pain in the A." he's going to know my name personally. Letitia James followed up with that time and time again. Here's just some of the quotes here. Klein, time and time again, saying no one is above the law. No one's above the law. She wrote poetry about it. No one is above the law. Constantly saying, listen, the law is supreme. Here's a poem that she wrote to Donald Trump on Valentine's Day. She said, roses are red, violets are blue. No one is above the law, even when they think the rules don't apply to you. Happy Valentine's Day. Got it? This you? Flashback, Letitia James. No one is above the law. She said it again and again and again. When powerful people cheat to get better loans. Look at this tweet. This is amazing, man. It's just remarkable how it all works. It's just biblical justice. This is what you're witnessing before us is just a biblical humiliation. Look at this tweet. Zoom, please, if we can. When powerful people cheat to get better loans, it comes at the expense of hardworking people. Everyday Americans cannot lie to get a bank, to get a mortgage. And if they did, our government would throw the book at them. There simply cannot be different rules for different people. Well, we agree, Letitia. Put it on a t-shirt. Put it on a bumper sticker. I'll slap it on my car. The supercuts are remarkable. Letitia James talking about how hard she is going to go at President Trump. Again and again and again, bragging that she will use her entire office to selectively prosecute one man. And she did that. She went after Trump to try and bankrupt him, to try and put him in prison. They changed the law in New York for just a short period of time. Please understand where we are right now. The law in New York was changed for like a year to allow the statute of limitations to be dragged out so that some cuckoo pants lady, as far as we know, never met Donald Trump, E. Jean Carroll, could sue Donald Trump to bankrupt him for hundreds of millions of dollars. And then they closed that law and then they shut the law down. They let her sue. They changed the whole law in the state of New York so that one lawsuit can go through on Donald Trump. And then they sunset the law for 1 year. And so now the law is off the books. Now no one can do that again. That's how corrupt the state of, this is what they did to Donald Trump. Alongside, of course, raiding his home with guns drawn, creating the Russia hoax, shooting him in the head, going after him in 7 other states, taking him off the ballot, trying to bankrupt his kids, attacking his entire family, attacking his wife, and launching special counsels against him based on lies. These are the kind of things they did to Donald Trump, and now they're going to scream that the president's administration is engaging in revenge. Well, let me ask a quick question here. If you have done a criminal act, isn't it important that you get punished? If you've behaved like this, isn't it an important deterrent to ensure that nobody behaves like this ever again? This is what happens in my household when it comes to discipline and bad behavior. You have to set an example. Every parent understands this. Otherwise, you will live inside of anarchy, chaos. Your house will be hell on earth. Nobody wants that. You want a peaceful and orderly house. And so there must be discipline. This is discipline, ladies and gentlemen. Letitia James bragged time and time again about how she was going to attack Trump and only Trump. Just really quickly here.
We'll never be afraid to challenge this illegitimate president when our fundamental rights are at stake. I believe that the president of these United States can be indicted for criminal offenses.
Will you sue him for us? Oh, we're going to definitely sue him. We're going to be a real pain in the He's going to know my name personally.
That man in the White House.
Okay. Let's listen to this one.
Who can't go a day without threatening our fundamental rights. Yes, we need to focus on Donald Trump and his abuses. We need to follow his money. We need to find out where he's laundered money. We need to find out whether or not he's engaged in conspiracy. It's important that everyone understand that the days of Donald Trump are coming to an end.
Okay. Yeah. All right. The days of Donald Trump are coming to an end. How bad do you have to be if Anderson Cooper on CNN is attacking Letitia James? That is exactly what's happening right now. Check this out. Amazing stuff here. Anderson Cooper on CNN saying, Listen, guys, she made her entire career off selective prosecution of Donald Trump. Here we go.
System is not supposed to work.
Jeff, I mean, according to PolitiFact, the day after she was elected in 2018, Letitia James was asked by a community activist if she was going to sue President Trump. And she replied, quote, "Oh, we're going to definitely sue him. We're going to be a real pain in the ass. He's going to know my name personally." I mean, that's not a great look for somebody who has just been elected or just been campaigning, who hasn't even looked, I guess, at deeply at any evidence.
Well, that's, we live in a system where attorneys general and district attorneys in the United States, unlike almost any other country, are elected officials, are politicians. So they run for office making political statements. That's how our system works. It's not pretty. Okay. I don't think it's a great system.
Ladies and gentlemen,
but there's no.
I don't think I'm glad to see that Jeffrey Toobin has his hands in the shot the whole time. I think he should be legally required to do that. And maybe his ankle bracelet as well. But I do agree with him technically there. There are pros and cons to having politically elected district attorneys, politically elected sheriffs, and so on. And I look forward to a full-throated conversation about how to reverse that system, obviously. I think that there are some things that, frankly, shouldn't be politically elected. You can obviously see how the horrors that have been wrought by left-wing Soros-funded district attorneys all throughout America. So that's a worthwhile conversation to have, but how bad do you have to be at your job to have Anderson Cooper attacking you, effectively defending the Trump administration here and attacking you? It's going to be bad. Of all things to talk about right now, I guess locking up your home title would be a good one. Securing your home. The FBI has been warning about a type of real estate fraud that is on the rise called title theft. And your equity is the target. Here's how it works. Criminals forge your signature on a single document. They fake a notary stamp, and just like that, on the record, they own your home, at least on paper. Using your ownership, they can take out loans against your equity, sell your property. You don't even know until it's foreclosed upon. I've partnered with Home Title Lock to make sure you don't end up like Letitia James, right? You don't want to be in criminal court over your home. You don't want to lose all your equity. Ladies and gentlemen, use my promo code Benny at HometitleLock.com. You'll get a free title history report and a free 14-day trial of their $1 million triple lock protection. And that means 24/7 monitoring of your title and records, urgent alerts for any changes. And if fraud occurs, the U.S.-based restoration team will spend up to $1 million to fix it. Ladies and gentlemen, go to HometitleLock.com, promo code Benny, in order to make sure that your home is on lock, unlike Letitia James. HometitleLock.com, promo code Benny. Use the link in the description. All right, ladies and gentlemen, joining us right now is a man who's done an enormous amount of research on the Letitia James nightmare ongoing right now. Sam Anitar is a fraud investigator, and he's famous for being on our program and saying, no, Letitia James is going to get indicted and charged. And he was right. Here we go. Sam, welcome back to the program. I love having people who are professionally right back on the program, especially to do like little touchdown dances when they are right. And you were right. And so I guess there should be major kudos to you and no surprises this morning from you when this was handed down late last night.
Correct. But let's get past the political fray, because I've been watching all of these broadcasts. 99% of these pundits don't even know the case that they're talking about. They're just headline lazy. They just read the headline and they go on the air and they wing it. Okay. You put me on the air. You examined me for like half hour. You asked probing questions and we got to where we have to be. So let me get started with this one. Okay. First of all, we flagged this in February of 2025, this specific property, which is her Peroni Avenue property in Virginia. Okay. How was it found? I was looking at her campaign finance filings, and I noticed that the property, which had no mortgages on it, until 2023, all of a sudden was encumbered by mortgages at twice the value of the property. So what did I do? I ordered a title report, and I found she bought the property in 2020, and there was a mortgage entered into 2020 when she bought the property, the mortgage that they're claiming that she defrauded now, right? That mortgage was never disclosed in the financial filings with New York State, okay? But the two mortgages that were disclosed in the financial filings in New York State were unrecorded. They didn't show up in the property records. So that property, okay, she takes a mortgage, right? When she buys the property, she doesn't disclose it to New York State as she should have, right? When she purchased the property, and the property had a clause, is this going to be your primary residence, your secondary residence, or an investment property? She said it was going to be her secondary residence. And what did she do? Right out of the box, and it's right there. It's right there. She started renting out the property. In other words, she treated it as an investment property, but it wasn't an investment property according to the way that she got the loan. She had to get permission from the bank to treat it as an investment property. She did not. And as a result, she got a better rate as a secondary home than as an investment property. Now, let me just finish. This is just the tip of the iceberg. There's going to be superseding indictments on her other properties, Sterling Street property, her Brooklyn property, and there's going to be a DOJ investigation into the efforts of certain people within the Virginia U.S. Attorney's Office to obstruct justice in this case and to leak information to the media that was going on within the office.
Wow. So they're just getting started. This is just the appetizer.
This is just the appetizer. That's all it is. It's just, throw it out there. There's going to be plenty more. Okay. This is like the smallest item in the entire case.
Sam, you're one of the world's experts on this case. You've been professionally correct on our program about this case. So can you please tell me about Sterling and Brooklyn? What's going to happen there?
Okay. Sterling Avenue, when she was going after Donald Trump, okay, this is August of 2023. She's preparing for the trial. She applies for a mortgage on a property she was buying with her niece, right? On August 2nd, she says, this is not going to be my primary residence. On August 3rd, the mortgage broker writes her back. It's on the application that it's not going to be your primary residence. But during that 14-day period until the loan got approved, okay, she signs a specific power of attorney. Go that way, that way, that way. I hereby declare it's going to be my primary residence. I intend to occupy this property as my primary residence. No. Everybody's saying, well, she said it's not going to be a primary residence. Yeah, but she lied after she said it. She changed her mind. In other words, everybody's got the order wrong. That's what I'm talking about. All of these pundits, they don't even understand the damn case that they're talking about. And they're the ones getting paid. Nobody's paying me to do this crap. In any case, okay? August 2nd, August 3rd, she tells the truth. August 17th, she lies. Between that period, the loan got approved. What probably happened is, and I guarantee you, this is an educated guess, but I'm good at guessing. I would say that during that 14-day period, her loan went through the automated underwriting system and got kicked out multiple times. In other words, they wouldn't accept the loan based upon her not being a primary resident.
But she ended up getting the loan.
She ended up getting, not only that, but the power of attorney that said it was a primary residence, going to be a primary residence, was filed with the mortgage and the property records. That's how I found that. I looked at other properties. I pulled the title reports. I looked at the mortgages. I said, what the hell's going on here? The third one is the Brooklyn property.
Yes.
Okay. She claims that she's always used the property as a 4-unit property, even though the certificate of occupancy says it's 5 units. Well, guess what? In New York City, okay, the government has very, very strict rules about occupancy. The certificate of occupancy rules, Okay, you can't take a 5-unit building and on a whim make it a 4-unit building. You can't take a 4-unit building and on a whim make it a 5-unit building. You have to get permission from the Department of Buildings, who has to inspect the property to make sure you're in line with the code. So when she's saying it's always been a 4-unit building, she is lying to everybody. It's a 5-unit building. She should have disclosed it was a 5-unit building. And as a result of all of this, she got better rates on the mortgage because a 5-unit building is considered a commercial property. She probably lied on the insurance applications too. So she probably committed mail fraud with the insurance companies too. Now, she says it's always been a 4-unit building, but look at that screen again. You'll see that depending upon her whims, sometimes she says it was a 1 to 2-story building, 1 to 2 family building, 1 to 3 family building, and a 4 family building. She doesn't even remember her own damn lies.
The problem with being a liar is that you have to remember the lies, Sam. You really get caught in trying to do the cover-up. That's how all of these people go down. The cover-up is what brings them down.
There was also an attempt at a cover-up. 2 people from our office leaked information to MSNBC. Okay, it was in the news the other day. That the prosecutor that was handling the case, not the chief prosecutor that was appointed by Trump, one of the people that were within the office, and she was. They said that she intends to tell her boss that there's no case here. Okay, now, how do you leak information to the press before the boss even gets the report? And besides, it's an ongoing investigation. At least 2 U.S. laws have been broken here. Now, with that in mind, okay, there's going to be a DOJ investigation into obstruction of justice. Somebody's been trying to sabotage this case.
Sam, what do you think will be the result here? There are some pundits, as you said, I don't listen to them. I want you on my program, right? I haven't booked the other pundits. I want you. You're the one who's been honest about all this and who has all the documentation back up.
On my blog,
there's a lot of pundits.
Right.
A lot of pundits, Sam, they're like, well, she could get out of it this way. She could get out of it that way. What's your prediction about the end result here, Sam?
I don't give a flying F what these other people say. To be honest with you, I don't give a shit. Anyway, I go by the evidence. Everything that I've uncovered, everything that I've exposed, everything that I've written is in my blog, and everything is tied into the source document, which I link to, and everybody can see what I'm talking about. I don't wing it when it comes to this stuff, okay? Yeah, people sometimes make mistakes. We're all human, but I don't wing it. I provide straight evidence. She committed mortgage fraud over a period of 42 years. With the assistance of my friend Joe Lewis, we found out as early as 1983 she's committed mortgage fraud. Okay, goodness. 10 mortgages on a Brooklyn property were false. 5 financial statements to New York were false. 2 mortgages in Virginia had false information too. This is not an isolated incident. Okay, this is somebody that's perennially a serial mortgage fraudster. Period. That's what the evidence says. You want to talk about Trump with this? Trump hating you, Trump targeting you, I don't give a damn, okay? It doesn't matter. She committed mortgage fraud. Everything else is a sideshow to me. I'm a forensic accountant. I go by the evidence.
Yes. And the bank accounts don't lie. The money doesn't lie.
My signature doesn't lie. Her signature's on there. Actually, her signature does lie. But the document to which her signature on doesn't lie.
Yes. So, Sam, quickly here, what are the penalties that Letitia James, let's say she gets a fair trial, and given the demonstrable evidence that you presented here, she is found guilty. What penalties does she face?
Each time she signed a name to a bank account, each time she signed her name to a mortgage that had false information, is a felony in and of itself, punishable up to 5 years. She can be charged. Here's the thing that also people understand. She can be charged with 50 felonies, okay? And like me, back in the crazy A days, like my lawyer said, I can get you off of 49 felonies, but they're going to still get you on number 50. In other words, all they have to do is hang you once. So they're going to multiply the counts, right? And you'll see, will she be guilty? Well, she is guilty, okay? As far as I'm concerned, I'll say it. You want to come sue me? Sue me for libel, because I have the facts behind me. The truth is a defense. She is guilty of mortgage fraud. Whether the courts decide otherwise, that's their problem. But the documents show it, period. It's a black and white case. All of these people, this. It doesn't matter. None of these people know what the hell they're talking about.
So 5 years in prison per count, and you're saying that they could stack 50 counts here if they took the totality of the evidence.
Yeah. At the end of the day, there's sentencing guidelines, and they consolidate whatever. She can end up being in jail for 5 to 10 years. Who knows?
Wow. Wild times. I don't think we've ever seen anything like this. And
no, I haven't. But what bothers me is that I haven't been exposed to this part of your world, and I can't believe the bullshit that emanates out of the media. I just can't believe it.
This is why to start this all off, we actually read the indictment, every line of it. We let people decide for themselves. It's an airtight indictment. We have it up on screen. We can put it up on screen right here. And everyone's done their work here. It's been solid, but so have you, Sam. And so we're just thankful for that. We're thankful for your clarity. And again, you said I'm not getting paid a dime here. He's doing it for the love of the game, ladies and gentlemen. It's guys like this that keep our country free, that preserve our liberty by exposing criminality in our highest ranks of elected officials. Sam, right here on X, has 70,000 subscribers. You should be one of them. He's fighting for freedom and truth, more importantly, and most importantly. And so thank you, Sam. We're fighting alongside you.
Thank you for allowing me on the air to say my views on the subject, because I'm just sick and tired of the nonsense. I mean, if this is the best our country has to offer, we're in serious trouble. Imagine a national crisis, and these same people still don't know what they're talking about. This is not good for America. If I was in charge of MSNBC, CNN, I would throw all of these people out because they're worthless. They are entirely worthless.
Ladies and gentlemen, somebody who's not worthless and somebody that is worth a follow is Sam Antar. Follow him right here. Godspeed, Sam.
Godspeed to you.
Fighting for truth, ladies and gentlemen, somebody who is fighting so very hard to make sure that some of these blue states that are such cesspools of scum and villainy, such hives of scum and villainy, flip red. Scott Preslow will be joining us in just one moment. But first, ladies and gentlemen, let's talk some truth. I spent an insane amount of my days browsing, clicking, typing, using browsers, getting frustrated with pop-ups and so on. It is something that is constant for me. It is something that obviously I'm trying to very efficiently use my time in the studio because, well, I want to get home to my kids, actually, the major motivator of my life. And one of the easiest ways to do that is to simplify the processes of my day. Now, everybody uses a browser. Let me recommend to you Comet. The Comet browser, which is powered by Perplexity's new AI, makes browsing the internet so very easy. Instead of doing things yourself, you can ask Comet to do it. You can literally click, type, search, scroll, get things done in the background. Depending on the kind of job that you have, whether it's computer intensive, which most jobs are today, Comet can do it for you. It can shop for you, make reservations, book travel, summarize articles and videos, send emails, schedule meetings. It's like a personal assistant. And, well, those are very expensive these days. Download Comet's browser today. Comet browser. Head to Perplexity AI. That's pplx.ai/Benny. Let the browser work for you. Plus, right now, when you download Comet, you get a free month of Rumble Premium. These are the people, of course, that help us speak freely and work freely and more efficiently. That's pplx.ai/Benny. Go and take back your time online. All right, ladies and gentlemen, somebody who is spending his time in New Jersey to flip that state red, the great Scott Pressler joins us live right now. Let's go! Scott, we are so hyped about today in Wildwood. I think, are you there right now? Like, were you on Fox this morning? Tell me all about it. We're catching up on a bunch of stuff today.
Hey, Benny. So up early, we had Steve Ducey over at the Vegas Diner in Wildwood. I don't know why everybody else was up at 6:30 a.m., but let me tell you, it was high energy, and they were going around interviewing people. And I tell you, Wildwood is ready to turn out for Jack Ciattarelli for governor this November. And I am so excited for our rally tonight. Let's go.
Okay. How many people are going to be there, Scott? What are we looking at?
Thousands have already signed up. Judge Donahue was there at the Vegas Diner this morning with the mayor of Wildwood. I tell you, people are fired up.
So this is something that comes as a shock to many. They'd say, wait a second, the blue wall, the original blue wall, not Michigan and Wisconsin and Pennsylvania, but we're talking like the original East Coast states that have been blue for a very long time, right? That have been blue for decades and generations. Like, could that actually fall? Could we take a brick out of that wall? What does the data look like in New Jersey, Scott?
Well, I don't know why people haven't done this before. Pennsylvania flipped in 2016. It shares 1/4 of its border with New Jersey. There's a lot of shared values there. So the data is showing that even comparatively to last year, a presidential election, Republicans have a higher return percentage rate for mail-in ballots. And I want to be very clear, mail-in ballot, if we're doing a higher percentage rate even before early in-person voting has begun, I believe, Benny, that's a really good sign for us. Because as people know, early in-person voting, we have 9 days of it beginning October 25th through November 2nd. And I keep hearing from people all across New Jersey's 21 counties. They say, Scott, I'm voting early in person on day number 1.
Scott, we've seen some remarkable things from Ciattarelli with Democrats crossing over the aisle, some very prominent ones, and endorsing him. Why is that happening in New Jersey?
Democrats have been in control, Benny. This is a trifecta state government. Phil Murphy, lockdown Phil Murphy, with his radical Democrats have been in power. What have they got to show for it? If you want more of the same, if you don't want anything to change, if you want sky high property taxes, if you want sky high electricity bills, if you want a state that is a sanctuary haven for illegal aliens, where crimes aren't prosecuted, where there is no law and order, then vote for Mikey Sherrill. Mikey cheating scandal Sherrill. But if you want change, if you want life to be affordable, if you want to fix our education, if you want to make sure that people are staying in New Jersey, not fleeing for red states, then you vote for change by voting for Jack Ciattarelli. Moral of the story, Benny, I think people are aware that Democrats have been in control and Democrats have failed to lead, and it is time for change.
Just one last final numbers question, Scott, because I know you're a numbers guy. We were chatting at Penn State. You are very much, I got a team member named ALX. I know you know him. He's a good dude. We call him ALX AI because he pretty much like just predicts what we need, you know, before it even happens. And he can just, in an encyclopedic way, go and find anything, you know, any asset or anything. But you and I were talking numbers, and man, it's remarkable how much you know about voter registration, the true raw numbers, the percentages that need to be hit. And so talk to me quickly about what do the polls look like right now for Jack? I think that's why so many people are focused on New Jersey, because the world has been shocked that Jack is polling neck and neck with Mikey. Cheating scandal Mikey.
Yes, Mikey cheating scandal Sherrill is tied with Republican Jack Ciattarelli. I want to make it clear right here and now, this election is winnable. We can win. And the 2021 election, Benny, was decided by 84,000 votes. 84,000 votes. I will never forget that as long as I live. And 600,000 Republicans did not vote in the 2021 election. And furthermore, there are 250,000 gun owners that are not registered, Benny, to vote in New Jersey. Just like California, if every Republican voted, we would win the state. If every Trump supporter that voted last year votes on Tuesday, November 4th, 2025, or during early in-person voting or turning in your mail-in ballot, you will replace lockdown Phil Murphy with Republican change agent Jack Ciattarelli.
One of the most remarkable MAGA rallies, and I'm very sad that I couldn't have been there in person. Probably my favorite MAGA rally was the Madison Square Garden rally. I don't know if you were here in person, but we have some footage of Trump's Wildwood rally. And since we are going to be going hard here in Wildwood, I just want to ask, first off, I think this is the most attended MAGA rally in history with 100,000 people that attended. The footage was incredible. Will Jack be able to turn out like Trump? And what happens if he does?
You know, that's a question for your audience, Benny. That's a question for everybody living in New Jersey right now. If you're tired of the same old, then you have to vote. If you want to support the president, then you come out and vote. If you want to keep the House next year, creating energy that is going to propel us from 2025 into 2026, then you vote this year. Ultimately, this is up to the people. We showed that we could win the popular vote and all 7 swing states and come within 5 percentage points of delivering New Jersey for Donald J. Trump. You at home have the power, and you at home control our destiny. Are you going to register to vote by October 14th going to nj.gov? And are you going to vote and shock the nation by electing Jack Ciattarelli as governor? You have the power.
Final question here, Scott, for someone who is near to your heart and mine, Charlie Kirk. I know that you are passing out stickers saying, I voted for Charlie Kirk. How motivating will that be in this election cycle?
I think we are going to see the ripples of the indelible mark that Charlie has left on American history for decades, for centuries to come. And we're only going to start seeing it now. We've already seen it in voter registration data. We've seen by the amount of people that are going to Turning Point Action. We've seen by the people that are creating chapters all across other colleges and even high schools. And I do think it's going to be a motivating agent in this election. And even in Pennsylvania, we have early in-person voting beginning on October 14th, his birthday. And the last day to register to vote, Benny, is October 14th. Again, nj.gov. And I think I really want to say this, that we are honoring his legacy by taking positive, constructive action. I think that he wouldn't want it any other way than for us to continue to fight for freedom. And the way that we do that is with ballots. Ballots, not bullets. We do it peacefully. We organize, we register voters, we knock on doors, and we vote. And we're going to have stickers that say, I voted to honor Charlie. And I do think it's going to have an impact this November.
Yes, you are seeing the profound impact today, and you will see it across the nation. I look forward to these battles with you, Scott. We are going to go on offense. That's what Charlie always wanted us to do, that was constantly talking about. I know that you partnered with Turning Point. I know that you partnered with Charlie. I know that you were speaking at Turning Point events. You were ubiquitous there, absorbing the energy, registering voters, and you are carrying forward Charlie's mission in such a noble and honorable way. I very much look forward to fighting these battles with you and alongside you, Scott.
Benny, game on. Can't wait to see you tonight, my friend. Thank you for coming to New Jersey. Thank you for helping us.
Here we go. Scott Presler, 2.4 million subscribers. You, of course, must be one of them. You probably already are. If you're not, you're crazy. Go follow Scott, one of the most uplifting and important accounts that exist on X. Godspeed, my brother. See you soon.
See you tonight.
Gentlemen, we have an announcement for you. And part of the reason why I'm going to be chugging my coffees this morning. I'm already down a whole pot of course, Blackout Coffee. Ladies and gentlemen, Blackout Coffee, the official coffee sponsor of our program, brings the energy. I mean, you got to be able to like go and approach the world and like hit it as hard as we are hitting it right now. You've got to have the energy, man. We're going to be all over. We're going to be in California. We're going to be in DC next week, and California and Virginia. We're going to be doing massive events on Charlie's birthday. We're going to be at the White House next week. We're going to be crisscrossing the nation. We're going to be saving New Jersey. We're going to be going on offense in these states. And, well, you got to have the energy to fight the communists. Blackout Coffee is what provides my energy every single day. I drink my coffee black. I don't put cream or sugar in it. So it better be good. If it's bad coffee, then no bueno. Ladies and gentlemen, Blackout Coffee for people who work hard in this country. It's made right here in America by true American patriots, right here in Florida, in their beautiful 64,000 square foot facilities. Damn good coffee. Get yourself a bag and you won't go back. Go to blackoutcoffee.com/Benny and use code Benny for 20% off your first order. Support the American dream and drink Blackout Coffee. That's blackoutcoffee.com/Benny. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, it's wild times. This afternoon, we will be doing a press conference. We'll be live for it with the Department of Justice and the Attorney General. And I don't want to put the cart before the horse here, but this is going to be aligned with our mission to make sure that we have a safe America, and utilizing the resources of this program and this show to that end to preserve our nation for our children and make sure that it is a country that you would want to leave to your children. That's pretty much the only purpose in all. Well, what's the point of building anything if it's not to leave it to your kids, to leave your kids a blessing? But you can't leave your kids a blessing when the country is fraught with left-wing terroristic violence. You don't want to leave your kids a fallen state, a collapsed society, a sectarian violence state, a country in the breach of civil war. You can't have that. And there is a side that is totally and completely evil. I don't know how many times we got to watch Charlie Kirk or Donald Trump get shot in the head to understand that, but it's true. How many times you got to see a group of Christian children praying in a church get shot up by a left-wing extremist? Federal agents get shot up by a left-wing extremist. How many times does the Democrat Party have to nominate a man who says they want to kill Republicans? They want to kill their children because they're little fascists, before we understand like where the actual problem is. And most importantly, when it comes to solving the problem, and I do want unity, I want a unified nation where we agree on much more than we disagree on, and our disagreements are peaceful. But you can't have unity with people that want to kill you, and you, as a Christian, mustn't unite with evil. So we're going to be talking about that today. It's our great honor, ladies and gentlemen, to be joined by Attorney General Pam Bondi today. That'll be a live stream. It'll be up on the channel. We hope that you tune in. This is very much the Lord's work, and we set about doing it. It's not enjoyable work, but it is important work, and it is the purpose of this show and this audience. So may God bless you, ladies and gentlemen, here in the single greatest country on earth, America. Have a wonderful weekend. More news today, forthcoming. Our verse of the day from Isaiah 49, verse 25. Yes, captives will be taken from warriors, plunder retrieved from the fierce. I will contend with those who contend with you, and your children I will save, saith the Lord. Let's do this to save our children, to save our country, for our children, to make America safe again, free again, and that liberty shall ring. Ladies and gentlemen, get ready. A reminder, in the end, we win. Take that with you into the weekend. And this is the greatest country on earth. It's your boy, Benny. See ya.
And we will put your fat in prison for conspiracy against rights. And I promise you.
Whoa, Nelly. We're losing hydraulic pressure. Divert all power to the loading bucket. Full power.
The biggest ships in the sea, all owned by the oldest kings. And their dying legacy, media deal weeds. Soon will the Benny Show come to mind us all from lives for fun. Leave the gold and bring the gun, we sail for #1. Show come to mind us all from lives for fun. Leave the gold and bring the gun, we sail for #1. The biggest ships in the sea, all owned by the oldest king.